evening, everyone. This is Ryan Hoyme, aka Massage Nerd, and tonight we have a special guest from across the seas, Suzanne Yates. She continues to work with individual clients, primarily from her clinic in Bristol. She offers shiatsu, massage, and individual exercise sessions, and works with clients at all stages, especially from preconception through pregnancy, birth, and postnatal period, with both partners and their baby. She also works with clients of all stages of their lives. Suzanne has been developing a holistic approach to maternity since 1989. Motivated by her first pregnancy, she began to deepen her profession, shiatsu, and massage work to specialize in maternity care. She specialized in Well Mother in 1990, teaching shiatsu, massage, and exercise to women and their partners in Bristol, UK, to help them connect with their wisdom of their body. Welcome tonight.
Hi.
Hi.
Nice to be with you.
Yeah, thanks. So this is a first. I mean, I've had some people from all over the world, but never anybody from the UK. So this is going to be very fun. So
okay.
And so are you more shiatsu based or more massage based? Would you say?
That's hard to say. I mean, I combine two. I think once you've studied one modality, you can't really ever miss it out. And sometimes I feel that people want more the direct work with the skin, with oil, and I like to do that. And sometimes they want more through the clothes, but I never really separate the two out. So even when I do shiatsu, sometimes I end up doing a few more massage-based techniques, and when I do massage, I can't stop myself using points and meridians to support the work of massage. So both.
Okay. Do you so do you have to kind of educate the clients too about shiatsu and the meridians sometimes, or do you just kind of leave it kind of as is then, because it is kind of confusing to the average client?
Yeah, I basically, with the clients, I tend to just explain to them what they ask, because I used to try and explain all about shiatsu initially to people, but sometimes they don't want to know all of that. So I just respond to where they're at, really, and give them the information that they want. And because I do a lot of work with pregnancy and birth, a lot of people are aware of some of the points, like for the labour, I call them labour focus points rather than induction points. That might be a question for someone to ask. But, you know, there are points people know that you've got to be aware of. So people have got some basic understanding of shiatsu.
Okay.
So I'll just respond to where they're at, really, with it. Yeah.
And for years, I mean, even when I went to massage school back in the 90s, they said to really stay away from the first trimester. Has things changed over time, would you say?
Things have changed probably a lot because of the work that I was doing. I mean, that's what really got me motivated to start working, because when I was pregnant myself, I felt really healthy and well. I was teaching with my shiatsu teacher. I was assisting on courses with her, and I didn't see any reason not to work some of the points. Well, I was exploring it, and I just felt, you know, actually in the first trimester, it's good to receive body work, it's good to receive massage, it's good to receive shiatsu. And that's what kind of motivated me 21 years ago to start developing all this. And obviously over the years I've studied it with other people. There's in fact a German acupuncturist who's done quite a lot of study of what we call sometimes the forbidden points, and he's concluded that they don't really have any negative effect. Okay. I mean, obviously we have to be careful, but points aren't magic bullets. You can't press a point and something happens in the body. They're working on really balancing the person's energy. So unless the person was going to miscarry, they can't create a miscarriage. And that's what I often say to people. The same applies to massage as well. If someone's healthy and the baby's strong, how can working with massage or shiatsu create any harm? As long as we work to support the person, then we're actually going to be enhancing their experience of pregnancy and actually supporting the energies of the first trimester rather than harming. But you're right, there's a lot of fear. I think possibly less in America, though. I mean, all the American massage books I've read by people like Carol Osborne-Sheets and Elaine Stillerman don't contraindicate massage in the first trimester.
Yeah, because I know over time they've changed their beliefs and everything about the first trimester. But again, back in the '90s when I went through massage school, that's when people said try to stay away from that first trimester unless they're really used to getting massages, it seems. And so
Oh, okay. So that's changed in America
yeah,
as well.
yeah,
Right. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's changed here, and in fact, I mean, one of the main massage bodies here in the UK was about to have one of their guidelines of saying that nobody should do massage in the first trimester. And luckily, one of their board of directors was doing a course with me at the time, and I explained the reasons why I felt it was important to support massage in the first trimester, and they managed to agree that it was okay. So that was quite good. I mean, I think for me also, it does always come down to the individual client. So, I mean, if the client doesn't want to receive massage or shiatsu in the first trimester, which some people don't, I mean, they may be very sensitive, they may be very anxious, then I feel if it's just going to create more anxiety, then it's better that they don't receive massage or shiatsu. But on the other hand, if they're open to it, then they usually feel a lot better after having a massage or shiatsu. Often they feel much less sick, they feel more relaxed, they feel less stressed. And I always say to therapists, you know, people aren't told to stop working in the first trimester, and often they're in really stressful jobs and, you know, they're not feeling that great. So why not give them some space where they feel much better and actually reduce their stress? And there is research that shows that stress has a negative effect on pregnancy. So even just on that simple level of stress reduction, it's going to be a benefit.
yep, and that's huge. And then you said earlier about the acupressure points and stuff, and again, over in America, we're so sometimes fear-based, if you want, with certain things, because especially if we don't know about it, with the acupressure points, because a lot of times in schools we're told not to stay away from certain points just to be safe. But again, it's more fear-based because if you don't know about it, you just want to be safe and
Yeah.
you know.
And that's the problem, and that's why I've developed a lot of my teaching, is to enable therapists to not feel afraid, because I agree, if you're working from fear, then you can't really connect with your clients properly. And of course, if you're going to work with people in the first trimester of pregnancy, or indeed at any stage, it's always more helpful to know actually what's going on for the client, so that you can offer better work for them and better support.
Yep, definitely. And then with is there a lot with postpartum too? Do you get into that kind of massage, would you say, or?
Yeah, for me, again, that's really, really important, because there's so many, there's so much awareness about pregnancy massage these days, and about birth and supporting women antenatally. We say antenatally here in the UK, you say prenatally.
Yep,
You know?
yep.
And that's great, you know, I think that's really good. But there's also so little support postnatally, and I think it's the same in the States as in the UK. I mean, women, when they've had their baby, they're kind of almost expected to just get on with it, and after a few days even, be almost back to how they were before they had the baby. Whereas in most traditional cultures, even in the UK, even probably in America years and years ago, women would at least have a month to recover and rest and get better, because it's a big thing to be pregnant and then give birth. But now women are just left, you know, and after a few days you're meant to be back to normal. And actually these days there's more to recover from, because there's more intervention in birth, there's greater numbers of cesareans. So actually, you know, a cesarean's a major operation. So women need more time to recover, not less time to recover. So I feel it's really, really fundamental to work with women after they've had their baby. So, I mean, especially in the first few weeks, if I can, or for my clients in Bristol, I'll go and visit them in their home, because I don't think it's really that great for women, you know, in the first few weeks to go out with their baby. I know women do that, but yeah. I want to try and encourage them to stay at home. And so I'll go and visit them and offer them postnatal massage and support, and yeah, work with them at home. sometimes show them things to do with their baby, if the baby has colic or is a bit unsettled. So for me, postnatal work is really a foundation of work for the rest of their life. The postnatal period doesn't ever stop, in a way. It's after having a baby. But especially that early period is very important to support women in the early stages of recovery, and it's very often neglected in modern cultures.
Yeah, I would definitely say it's neglected. I mean, in our culture over here, typically you might want to take 6 weeks off, kind of thing, but it's so hard nowadays, and a lot of times they have the husband and wife actually working too, and sometimes it's hard to get off work, and I mean, sometimes you're just thrown back into work right away.
Yeah, I mean, and the 6 weeks is really just 6 weeks of work, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But probably the woman be really resting and recovering. And I mean, 6 weeks is hardly any time. I mean, 6 weeks, especially in Asian cultures, but as I say, in most traditional cultures, was just the initial recovery time. So in that 6 weeks, the woman's recovering from the birth and the pregnancy, but also she's getting to know her baby. And that's, you know, I think there's so many problems with breastfeeding these days because women are not just sitting around and being with their baby and getting to know their baby. I mean, I'm not trained as a breastfeeding counsellor as such, but I just find simply by enabling the woman to be relaxed about her body, relaxed with her baby, and then that has obviously a knock-on effect on the baby. If the mum's relaxed, the baby's more likely to be relaxed, then breastfeeding is often quite easy and straightforward. Whereas if the woman's trying to fit in all these things in the 6 weeks that she's got before she has to go back to work, then there's not really space to support breastfeeding and establish a good relationship with the baby. But even 6 weeks is, you know, to go back to work after 6 weeks is very, very little time. And that's something that's changed a lot in the UK. You know, even 20 years ago when I had my daughter, women would at least have 6 months or even a year off work. Or even a lot of women, 5 or 10 years before that, would not go to work while their children were before their children went to school. So they'd have like a few years off work or maybe working part-time. Whereas now, you know, they're working and it's quite stressful, like you say, or sharing work with their partner and you know, there's not really a good basis. And I think that is starting to have long-term health implications for women, but also for men. You know, it's creating stress. It's creating tension, and you know, it's not really great, I don't think.
And I call it.
And obviously, people have to. Yeah. Sorry.
For guys, I call it sympathy pain. So yeah, yeah, just because the women.
Yeah.
Suzanne?
But for guys as well, I mean, it is quite hard because even if they're, you know, if they're working and then they want to come home. You know, they want to be with their baby and be with their partner, but they're also probably quite tired as well. So, you know, there's just general tiredness for the woman and for her partner.
Suzanne, it's Gloria.
Which makes
here. I have a question for you.
Sorry?
It's Gloria
Yeah.
talking to you now. I have a question for you. When you're doing more of the postnatal massage, how would you describe it to therapists out there that in any way, is it different than what you do when they're pregnant or before they're pregnant? And is the postnatal treatments that you do different for people who have vaginal births versus cesarean births?
Okay. Right, yes. You've asked quite a few different things. So, I mean, for anybody, whether it's a vaginal or a cesarean birth, in the first, especially the first month to 6 weeks after giving birth, you do have to modify the massage or the shiatsu, because of course you can't give just a normal massage because, well, for one thing, they're bleeding, the womb is contracting, so especially for abdominal massage and lower back work, you have to do much less physically based techniques. Having said that, I mean, and then the other main area to work on is the whole chest and upper body, which can often be very tense. So how to explain it simply? I mean, you're doing a lot less vigorous work in the hip and pelvic area, abdominal area. You also, it's a less physical. You often have to work with the baby, you know, if you're working in the first few weeks, so you might have to be adaptable, you might have to work while the mother's feeding the baby, or sometimes I even work if the mother drifts off to sleep as well.
Nice.
I mean, okay, that might happen in a normal massage sometimes as well, but it's more likely to happen in a postnatal massage. So basically the first 4 to 6 weeks, you really have to know what you're doing, and you have to be alert to possible signs of infection. You know, it's a high risk. Oh, hi. Sorry about that. My computer just decided to turn itself off and do an update.
Okay.
We've been entertaining everybody on this end.
It suddenly sort of shutted everything down. Yep. So, yeah.
That's
sorry, I should have had my laptop as a backup. But anyway, hopefully it won't turn itself off again.
Okay.
Now. Yeah.
That's awesome. Somebody asked in the chat, when I was in the massage school, we were lucky enough to have a student who was pregnant, so we got to work on her all throughout the pregnancy. So I never had you can't do pregnancy massage during the first trimester. So that's
that's really good.
Yeah, and then we're also talking.
That's what again. I think that's also. Yeah, no, that a lot of pregnant women, a lot of people doing my courses or other trainings are pregnant. So people in schools get a chance to work on pregnant women, and the women themselves, because they're studying massage or shiatsu, can give really good feedback and say what feels helpful for them.
Yep. And then I have 2 daughters, an 8-year-old and a 5-year-old, and the first one, we actually gave a lot of massage to my wife while she was pregnant. I mean, while she was actually in the labor process, because she was in labor for 24 hours. And it was very close to having a C-section for that first one. So do you see that a lot with therapists giving massages when they're actually going through the labor process?
Yeah, that's another big thing that, I mean, in fact, that was one of my first lots of teaching that I used to do, was teaching women and their partners, so not necessarily massage therapists, just ordinary women and their partners, how to give massage or shiatsu during labour. And it was so successful that that's what stimulated me to start courses for professionals, because it can make such a huge difference to women. And in fact, 2 of my French students recently, one of them gave birth and the other happened to be there. It wasn't planned at all, but the other one happened to be there because the first one's husband couldn't manage to get there. He was stuck somewhere else, and they both said it was just such an amazing experience to use massage and shiatsu during the birth. So it's becoming more and more used and more accepted. And that's actually why I started working with midwives here, because to teach midwives massage and shiatsu, especially for use during labour, because it's such an amazingly powerful tool.
Did
you want me to finish off saying about Gloria's question about the postnatal?
Oh yes, definitely, if you would, please. Yep.
Because I mean, the main other thing I was going to say was, I mean, because so many women are having cesareans, then of course we do need to know how to work with a cesarean. I mean, obviously we're not going to do work while the actual incision, direct work on the incision while it's still healing, but certainly knowing how to support that whole area that's been weakened, and when to start working with the scar, and what sort of exercises and things like that to give to the clients, that is quite important. So again, I feel if we're working with women postnatally, we need to know the effects of the different interventions that they have during labour, because so many women are having some sort of medical intervention during labour, not just cesareans, but epidurals, episiotomies. So it's knowing how to support the healing of all of that, as well as a natural birth.
Okay. And then Linda in the chat asked, how do you vary shiatsu when a client is pregnant? Do you sideline them, or are they prone or supine, or what are some of the major positions?
Okay. I mean, I'm not a great fan of using the prone position with body cushioning. I know that both shiatsu and massage therapists do that. I just find that it limits how much pressure that you can put, especially on the sacrum lower back area. I mean, often pregnant clients may like that as a relaxation position, so I wouldn't like to say, never use it, but it's not something I tend to use a lot. So I tend to use more side lying. I think side lying is a really good position, and it's very versatile, and I can do most of my work from the side position. Earlier on in pregnancy, I might use supine, or later more a semi-reclining, because obviously there's considerations with supine positioning. But later on, I also I've developed a whole way of working with massage and shiatsu in the forward leaning position. So because I do shiatsu and massage, if I'm teaching people on a table, then it would be more leaning propped up forward, how to explain, sort of forward leaning over the back of the table, of propping up on the table. Or if it's working with shiatsu and on the floor, on a futon, then over a ball is quite good. Like a gym ball. And so the woman leans over the ball. And this is really good especially for the third trimester, so towards the end, because it's a good position for relieving pressure on the sacrum and lower back area. It also helps with the positioning of the baby for labour, and it's also potentially a really good position for movement in the massage, and getting women to be used to having massage or shiatsu in different positions. So I'm quite versatile. I mean, using a massage chair sometimes is good, sitting on the ball is good. What I say to people is, have as many different options for your clients as possible, because some pregnant women aren't comfortable in, you have to find a position that's comfortable for your client, and sometimes that requires a bit of improvisation and creativity in pregnancy.
Okay. Then Linda asks, do you have any demo videos on YouTube or your website or other places?
That's what I'm working on. That's my next. Because I've spent all the last 10 years writing lots of books, and now I've decided I need to do some demo videos. So that's my next project, is to do some videos and initially get some short ones up on YouTube, and then do some longer DVDs for people. Okay. Yeah. Because obviously it's better if you see it.
Suzanne, I have a question. Do you work with any complicated type of pregnancies, or do you just work with the well person?
No, that's another big theme of mine, is that I work with anybody, whatever kind of pregnancy they have, and the only times I don't work is if they need emergency medical intervention. So, they're bleeding vaginally, their placenta's giving up, they've got eclampsia. Just a couple of examples. But otherwise, I work with higher risk clients, and sometimes I go and visit them in hospital. So I've worked a lot with people with preeclampsia. They're not always in hospital. I've worked with women with kidney problems, heart problems, and actually on Monday I had my first woman with triplets that I worked with.
Oh.
She was in hospital by the end, and again I went to visit her in hospital and work with her in hospital. So that's a big thing for me, because I think especially if a woman is classified as having a high risk pregnancy, and especially if she's in hospital, in a way she needs massage and shiatsu even more, because she's still pregnant, she's still going to give birth, she's still going to have a baby. So there's always something that you can do, and it's still really helpful to relieve stress, but it's also still really helpful to support her connection with her baby and her pregnancy. Because, even if the woman is ill, pregnancy in itself is not an illness. We need to still support the positive aspects of pregnancy, I feel. So, of course, I wouldn't recommend to someone starting out with pregnancy work to start working with higher risk clients. It's good to get to know the normal pregnancies, the low risk, the physiological work with normal pregnancies, low risk pregnancies. But eventually, I think it's really good if it's this fear thing, isn't it? If we know what's going on, then there's always something we can do. Obviously, in high risk pregnancies, it's important to work alongside the medical team. So alongside the midwives, alongside the obstetricians, and know where our responsibilities lie. But yeah, I will work with women pretty much whatever's going on, unless they're, obviously in the middle of having an emergency cesarean, or, they're having their medical treatments. I think it's important.
And then,
are you still there?
Yeah. And then what about perineal massage?
Okay. Yeah, I won't. I mean, in the UK, and I think in most countries, we're not. Midwives could show women to do perineal massage, but we're not allowed to actually touch the perineum, and I don't think most women would want that anyway. So, I wouldn't do it myself. But what I do is I have handouts, or I talk it through with the woman herself, and I encourage her to do it, or her partner to do it, but it's not something that I would actually directly do myself. On the other hand, though, that's where visualization, exercise, shiatsu ideas can come in, because you don't have to directly work the perineum to support the perineum. So there's points you can work which are not on the perineum, which support it.
Okay. And then somebody in the chat asked, how do you vary the protocol for high risk clients?
Depends on the condition. So if they've got like placental issues, especially if they've had any history of vaginal bleeding, then obviously there's modifications for abdominal work, for exercises, things like that. But if they have preeclampsia, then it's different modifications. So you have to really understand the different conditions and then modify accordingly.
And it's my understanding.
In my book that I wrote recently, I don't know if you've seen this book, Pregnancy and Childbirth. I've done a whole chapter on working with the higher risk maternity clients.
Suzanne?
What each individual complication may be, so that you then know how to.
Suzanne, you're breaking up.
They seem to have gone again now.
Yeah.
Oh, you're still there.
Yep, I'm still here. Yep.
Yeah.
So I just need your video again, if you can.
Yeah, I think it's because it's cut it down because the connection wasn't so good. I'll see if I can get the video back again.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, here we are. So, as an overall thing, I suppose I tend to work less physically with higher risk clients. Depending, this is just general, does depend on the particular condition. And I tend to use a bit more shiatsu energy work, specific point or meridian work to support the massage, if I was doing more massage for the higher risk clients.
Okay. And then it's my understanding, a little bit echo. It's my understanding that you're kind of a rock star over there, because your books, and then you even have a book in a different language, and teach workshops all over too. So.
Yeah, I have. Well, I've got my one that I wrote for therapists, which is.
You breaking up?
It's only in English, because no one's been able to translate it yet. I think because it was so big, it's quite I'm breaking up. It'll probably just take the video off then. So the one for massage. Then I did do one for midwives. That was my first one, because midwives are quite big over here. And that was being translated into French and Italian. And then I've done one for parents, that's in English. But that, for some bizarre reason, has just been translated into Czech.
Okay.
I've never taught in Czechoslovakia. Yeah. I don't know why it was translated into Czech, but I'm not complaining. But yeah, that's the thing in Europe. different countries are not so far away. So, I mean, I can be in Paris in an hour from Bristol, here where I live, and I teach courses in France. I've mostly been teaching shiatsu practitioners in France, but I'm about to start teaching massage therapists in France, because in France, this might be interesting for you, massage is quite recent as a profession, because the physiotherapists, are they called physiotherapists in the States?
No. No.
They might be called something different. Physical therapists basically had the monopoly on the word massage. So only a physical therapist, a physiotherapist, so medically trained, could do massage. So it's only in the last 10 years they have this profession, and it's called massage bien-être. So massage for well-being, and then we have like what we would consider more like a massage therapist. So it's quite new in France. So they've got me to go over at the end of this year to teach some courses for the massage therapists in France. In Germany, I don't do so much for massage because the whole profession of massage in Germany is a bit different than in the UK. So, I mean, it's a bit like you in America. In different states, you've got different regulations for massage and shiatsu. So in different European countries, there's slightly different regulations, more so for massage than for shiatsu. Shiatsu is a bit more sort of standardized across the countries, but massage, because of the links with physiotherapy, physical therapy, and the medical profession, and osteopathy and various things like that, it's a bit different in each country.
And then you're also teaching in the United States soon too, right?
That's right. In July and August, I've got a few days organised in the United States. Yeah.
And what states then are you coming to then?
So I'm coming to Chicago for a couple of days. I have to look at my list here. That's the 22nd to 24th of July. I mean, the longer courses, I'm doing more longer courses for shiatsu practitioners, because in the States, my work in massage is less well known. So that's why it's great that you've invited me to be on your show, because not as many people know about my work with massage, because you've got other massage teachers teaching pregnancy massage, but there aren't really many people teaching pregnancy shiatsu. So, I mean, for the massage therapist, normally in Europe, I teach a 4-day course. But here in the States, I'm just doing some 1-day courses. And the 1-day courses I'm doing for massage therapists are really introducing some energy work, so some work with shiatsu, so going over things like the points, the labour points, going over things like the positioning on the ball, going over, one of my other big things is working with the baby, how to kind of involve the baby and how to work the abdomen. Because I know that in the States, there's a lot of kind of, well, maybe it's fear. I don't know, is fear too strong a word? But, I mean, there's more caution with working on the abdomen and working directly with the baby. And that's one of my big kind of themes as well, is including the baby in the work and working on the abdomen. So, yeah, I'm doing day workshops. So, sorry, Chicago, Rhode Island, Providence, I'm doing one. That's the beginning of August, and Philadelphia. And they're organised by schools, because I know a lot of your massage schools do a bit of shiatsu. So a lot of massage therapists have done a bit of shiatsu. So they're organised by the Pacific College of Oriental Medicine in Chicago, the American Massage Therapy Association in Providence, Rhode Island, and Doylestown, the International School of Shiatsu. So I think all these places are getting the NCBT and the CEU points.
Okay.
I've also got them accredited with the shiatsu courses with the NCCAOM. So they all should be accredited courses for people for their CEU credits.
Okay, perfect. So the best way to contact you for that, you just go through your website to sign up, or how would that work?
Yeah, if you go on my website, and then you've got the contacts for all the different organisers on the website. That's probably the easiest way.
Yeah.
And if you can't find what you're looking for, because I'm in the process of reorganising my website, just send me an email and I'll give you the contacts if you can't find the dates.
And then somebody in the chat, Karen in the chat asked, how do you massage the legs and how much pressure do you use? And what do you do and recommend to clients with leg cramps?
Oh, okay. That's actually one area that I work a bit differently than your main, from what I understand, your main pregnancy massage teachers work, in that basically I do work the legs and I work them depending on the client. Sometimes I'll work with, it's always hard to say how deep the pressure is. I mean, of course, I know that you have lots of cautions of pressure on the medial side of the leg because of fear of thrombosis. But to my mind, if you suspect that someone has thrombosis, you wouldn't do any work. I mean, for me, that is one of the few absolute contraindications. So, again, obviously, I would take into account if the woman had varicose veins, then I wouldn't be giving pressure on the varicose veins. If they had edema, of course, the pressure would be lighter. So again, it's really seeing the pressure that's appropriate for each individual client. But I'm not just having a general thing about light pressure on the legs, because sometimes people need a slightly firmer pressure. So it will be individually worked out with the client. For leg cramps, I do stretching. I include quite a lot of stretching in the massage, and I also teach stretching exercises, and I also use elevated positions in the massage for addressing that.
And then Phyllis in the chat asked a little bit of question with that too, is please have her also discuss leg massage postpartum.
Okay. Well, again, postpartum, you have got a risk of thrombosis, but again, if I suspected someone had thrombosis, I wouldn't massage them at all, because anything can dislodge a thrombosis. Again, in the early postnatal period, especially the first week or two, there's lots of changes in the circulatory system, so you'd be obviously a bit more cautious with the legs. I would still massage them. I mean, again, in the early period, you might have edema. You also have got to take into account varicose veins. So, I mean, you go through your basic cautions, especially in the early period as well. You have to take in, you can't really do so much elevation because you don't want to be doing movements that would affect the hips and the pelvis so much, especially if they've had a cesarean. But, I mean, some gentle leg massage with less, I wouldn't really do the stretching. Unless it was a more, maybe just the ankles, but I wouldn't start including hip stretching and full leg stretching. But again, important, actually, you see, especially if women are on bed rest, you do want some mobilisation, and often they are a bit more on bed rest postnatally, because in order to prevent clotting, in order to prevent thrombosis. So, you know, again, take a good case history, but do include leg work as much as possible.
And do you focus on any kind of work that people are trying to get pregnant at all?
Yeah, that's, again, especially in the last 10 years or so, that's become more of a reason why people come to see me. And in fact, the client I was talking about with triplets, she came to see me because she was going through fertility treatment initially. So that's something I haven't written about that much in my books so far. But yeah, I do teach that on my courses, and that's something that hopefully I was going to have a whole section in the book on how to support women, because again, it comes back to the thing about understanding what you're working with. So, I mean, if women are going through fertility treatments, firstly, you need to know what kind of treatments they're going through, because there's so many different kinds these days. Is it just hormonal treatments? Are they having, what kind of fertilization? Is it using the eggs of the mother, or organ donor, or donor eggs, or sperm of the father? I mean, there's so many permutations that you need to know how to work if you're working with assisted reproduction. But of course, a lot of people also come, they don't want to go down that route, so they want to try massage or shiatsu before they start that route. And so, yes, I work a lot with people trying to conceive, both naturally and with medical support.
Okay. And in massage schools over there, how is there pregnancy massage taught in the average massage school over there, or not?
Not really, no. Because a lot the thing here is that a lot of the initial massage trainings are quite basic, so they're not necessarily that in depth. I know in the States it varies a lot from state to state, doesn't it?
Yep.
I also, when I was working on my book for therapists, I did some work with some Canadian massage therapists, because I understand in Canada you've got a 2-year full-time 700-hour program, so they're not really specialising. So really they do like a basic massage training, and then they do more specialist work after they've qualified. So if they get pregnancy massage work, it's fairly basic if they do it in their initial training.
Okay, yeah, because over here too, it seems like a lot of basic with pregnancy massage in a way, so that's why there's a few instructors that teach nationally and stuff, pregnancy massage, it seems. And,
yeah.
And how long is your massage schools over there in general, or?
I mean, some people can do courses in as little as 6 weekends. I mean, that's quite a basic. So there's like quite a basic low-level massage training, but then if people, want to take it a bit further, they do then go on and do other trainings on top of that. So I mean, you can do more in-depth trainings as well. I mean, we've got people, sometimes that they're part of university programs in complementary health, so they do more training, and then they might do specializations in specific aspects of massage and more in-depth work.
And is there a lot of regulation over there with massage or not?
There's a few different bodies that regulate massage, and at the moment it's a voluntary regulation scheme, but the government and the National Health Service is actually they've set up a body called the Complementary and Natural Healthcare Council, the CNHC, and that's really making a whole process of voluntary regulating, not just massage, sorry, my voice is going, not just massage, but a few of the other complementary therapies, so massage, shiatsu, I think reflexology, yoga, nutritional therapy. They're adding different therapies in all the time, and the idea is that's to set minimum standards of training and then minimum standards of conduct. So it's a way of protecting standards within the therapies, but also protecting the public. And this is voluntary because professions like acupuncture and osteopathy have got state regulations, so that's a much higher level of regulation, and it's much more costly for the therapists, for the practitioners, and it's kind of like on a par with, say, midwives or doctors. So it's a much more rigorous regulation. So what they're trying to do for other therapists is say, well, maybe we don't need as much regulation, but we do need some regulation. But they're leaving it to the bodies to regulate rather than an external regulator with the government.
Okay. And are a lot of people, would you say, are in favor of regulation over there? Or?
I mean, I think most serious therapists are in favour of some regulation, just simply because the way that the law is in the UK, so I'm talking specifically about the UK here, it's different in France or in Germany or in other European countries. But in the UK, because of our law, basically anybody can set up doing anything. So you can have people that do like a weekend or a couple of weekends of massage and then say they're a massage therapist. Well, clearly they don't have the training, and they can do it as long as nothing happens. And obviously, people that have done proper training aren't happy with that level of regulation. I mean, obviously, if someone did that, they wouldn't. I mean, they could be insured, I suppose, but they're not members of professional associations or anything like that. They're not adhering to a code of conduct. So it's really to stop that kind of thing happening, because obviously that's not very good for the profession. But on the other hand, we don't want so much regulation that it's very expensive for people, that also the whole development of the profession is restricted because there's too much regulation. So we want like minimal regulation that controls people, just anybody doing massage, but we don't want so much regulation that we can't keep developing our massage and our skills.
And what are some of your success stories, would you say? The things that really stick out in your mind about pregnancy massage in all these years?
Well, one I've written about in my book, and this was one of my clients, so I know that she's happy for me to share her story. She was a client that had a pre-existing kidney problem, so she had a weak kidney. So first of all, she was told that she wouldn't be able to get pregnant at all to start with. I didn't work with her while she was trying to conceive, but she conceived naturally. Then the whole of her first trimester, she was told she was likely to miscarry. So of course she was really stressed in the first trimester. That was when I first started seeing her. So she found that the work was really helpful. Then the second trimester, she was told, oh, well, you're lucky that you've got through the first trimester, but you probably won't get through the second trimester. You'll end up with a premature baby. So that was really stressful for her. So I worked with her in the second trimester. Then when she got to the third trimester, it was like, now you're lucky you've got to the third trimester. You'll probably have preeclampsia. Preeclampsia and a cesarean section. And we got her to 36 weeks, and by the end she was in hospital. So I was going to visit her in hospital, and every time I went to see her, her blood pressure went down, her kidney function improved. I mean, it's great working with high-risk clients in that respect, because you have like monitoring of the effects of what you're doing. So her blood pressure would go down, her kidney function would improve, and they were getting really confused. It was like, well, you're meant to be getting really ill, but you're not. But then eventually they decided to induce her because they were worried about, they didn't think her body was really going to cope with going any longer. They started inducing, but it didn't work. And luckily I was able to go in and work with her, and then that got labour started, so that was great. But then they wanted her to take blood pressure drugs to reduce the blood pressure, and she said, but I'm sure after my work with Suzanne, my blood pressure will be lower. And they said, there's no way your blood pressure will go down at this stage of labour. And she said, well, take my blood pressure. And they said, okay. And they took it, and their faces dropped. They were like, I've just gone there. Anyway, I was actually with her during her labour, and they were wanting to do a cesarean. They wanted her to have an epidural because they thought she'd probably need a cesarean. So all the way through, they were like, well, there's no way you'll have a natural labour. But I managed to keep supporting her and work with her partner, and she ended up not having an epidural and not having a cesarean. So she had a vaginal birth with a lovely baby at 36 weeks. So that was like one of my key stories that stand out, because she was meant to have not got to the end of the first trimester, and she ended up with a vaginal birth with a healthy baby. Wow. And she went on to have another baby after that, who I also worked with her in her second pregnancy and a second vaginal birth, and she didn't get preeclampsia. So that was really good, yeah.
Well, that's awesome. And then is infant massage popular over there?
Yeah, infant massage is very popular here. We have the IAIM, which is an American organisation, isn't it, I think? And
yep.
What's her name? Oh, I can't remember the name of the woman now. My mind's gone blank. But yeah, we have that here, and what I'm trying to work actually with a colleague of mine of getting a slightly more in-depth course on infant massage for massage therapists, and also for shiatsu practitioners. So I do some work with infant shiatsu as well, and I'm working with a German teacher who also does a lot of infant shiatsu work. So that's quite a big area of development as well, infant massage and infant shiatsu.
So what's next on your horizon?
On my horizon? Basically just to keep going and getting more therapists trained, more parents aware of the benefits of massage, and hopefully do these DVDs is the next thing. Maybe write some more books on fertility work, on infant work. That's what I hadn't included in the book for parents, and just keep going, really.
And do you offer classes in the United States every now and then, or how often usually is that?
To be honest, I probably won't come to the States very often because it's quite a big trip, and I can't teach for that many days in one go in the States. So I don't know. I'll have to see how it can all work out. I mean, maybe I can support people in the States. I mean, that's why I think doing things like Skype, maybe doing some online work, doing getting out some DVDs, doing the books is probably going to be more through that route than a lot of actual teaching in the States.
And can people get your books over here in the United States, you know?
Yeah, you should be able to get the books. I think you can get them all on Amazon.
Okay.
Amazon.com.
Okay, so no problem
And
with that.
if people want to get any of the books, and then give me your feedback on the books and DVDs. If you've got any ideas of specific topics for DVDs, that is my next project that I'm working on. DVDs.
Suzanne, I have a question for you. If somebody was to take the trainings with you and even come over to England and do that, do you have any kind of apprentice program where they can then teach at some point in time and teach over here in the United States?
That's what I am trying to set up. I have done some training for some teachers, and I mean that's what I'm actually. One of the things I'm going to try and work out with my book is to produce lesson plans and student workbooks and teacher workbooks and support teachers in that way. So that's sort of work in progress, really. I do that on an individual basis. So I have supported some teachers in the UK, and I don't have a formal apprentice program, but that's something that I am working on. I mean, ultimately, one day I've thought of having a centre, so I can actually get people, because I mean, another theme of mine is to support research into massage and shiatsu in pregnancy, and maybe have a centre where people can be working, or support centres. I don't really know.
That sounds great.
Something along those lines.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, keep us informed, because I know a lot of people over here in the United States that not only want to learn how to do this work, but they would love to teach it.
Oh yeah, no, it's great, and I mean I'm teaching about as much as I can really at the moment, because I still like working with clients. I don't want to spend all my time teaching. I still need to have time to write and do my DVDs. So be great if there's more people out there teaching as well, and if I can support them in any kind of way, that would be great.
Well, you and I have to stay in touch, because I know a few that are working on those things, and maybe you'll be a good resource, to work along with.
Yeah, maybe I can support people in their teaching and give them some specific input if they're already working in the pregnancy massage field.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so it's, what is it, 4 o'clock there?
Oh, yeah. I got up. That's why I might be looking a bit tired, because it's 8 o'clock in the morning. So I haven't really, I went to sleep for a couple of hours, and then I woke myself up to come and talk for you, so it would be in real time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, we definitely appreciate that. Yeah.
I'm too tired. It's dark here. Yeah, 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. So the best way to get a hold of you would be wellmother.org then, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Yep. So so again, you're going to be coming really soon to the United States. So if somebody's interested in taking your classes, they're not filled up totally yet, so you can take some new people.
Yeah. I think there's still spaces on the courses. Yeah, and I'm doing courses for massage therapists, for doulas and childbirth educators, and for shiatsu practitioners.
Okay. And then how long are the classes usually, your workshops?
Well, again, I mean, in America, the longest one is, let me think, 3 days. And in the UK and France, sometimes I do 4 days or 5-day workshops. I find after 4 or 5 days, though, people can't really take any more in, to be honest.
Yep.
They need time to go away and practice. That's what I think is important. So, I mean, often I do workshops, then they go away, they do case studies, and then I support them. I mean, I'm using Skype a lot with my students now, so they go away and they work with clients, and then they ask me questions while they're working with clients as well. So I'm trying to do that kind of ongoing support too. So I mean, that's something that I could do with people in America as well, you know, online tutorials and answering questions for specific clients, things like that.
Oh, that's great. I mean, so for some workshops and stuff, you meet with that person once and then you just never see them again. So that's nice that you're continuing with making sure that they succeed.
Yeah, because that's what I think. It's only really when you go out and start working with your clients that you have some questions. I mean, you have more questions.
Yep. And
things come up.
Yeah, and do you use the body cushion for side lying and semi-reclined at all then, or you try to stay away from that?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I use it. I mean, I use all different kinds of things. I mean, again, in the book, I go through a lot of like different equipment, different positioning kind of systems. I mean, I think I try and encourage each individual therapist to work out also what works for them, and you use the equipment that they've got and not necessarily spend a lot of money in buying specially designed systems. I mean, if they have them already and like using them, then great, but you don't necessarily have to have the body cushion system. You can use bolsters and pillows and other things, and that's why I'm such a big fan of the ball, you know, the birthing ball, which is just a gym ball, because it's simple and it's cheap, and clients can use it themselves. They can just go out and buy a gym ball. So I like things that are simple. I don't like lots of expense and complexity. Keep it simple, I think.
Yep. Definitely. So again, wellmother.org to get a hold of you, and look for your workshops really soon in the United States. Otherwise, take a vacation over the UK, right?
Yeah, take a vacation in the UK, or if you want to brush up on your French, in France. Actually, there are residential courses in France. So if you speak French, there's some courses coming up there in the south of France in a residential place, which looks very nice. So that's also on the website as well. I've got French pages, German pages, Portuguese pages. So it's very international, my website.
Is that in Provence, France, that you're going by any chance?
It's quite near. It's near Avignon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, maybe when I'm over there next year in England teaching the Lomi Lomi, you and I can maybe get together and have a cup of tea.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Because Devon is not very far from Bristol.
What, about
it's
2.5 hours?
Depends where you are. Whereabouts in Devon are you going to?
I'm not sure yet. I'm working it all out with the host over there, so I'll let you know as soon as I get the details.
It's only an hour or two away. So
okay.
which month are you coming?
In April 2012.
Okay, yeah,
Okay.
We'll keep in touch.
Okay, great. Nice meeting you.
Yeah, nice to meet you, even though I can't see your face.
Well, you can check out my website and you can see my face.
I'm speaking to a blank screen, but nice to meet you all.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. Great. Thanks a lot then.
Yeah, but thanks. And it's been an absolute pleasure. I mean, I love learning, especially other cultures and stuff. And this is just amazing.
Great. Well, I hope you understood my English accent
I was
as well.
just memorized by it the whole time. So yeah.
We're both over here practicing how to say massage.
Yeah.
But normally we say massage rather than massage. I try and say massage when I'm speaking to Americans, but
oh, don't change it.
Don't change. Yeah, don't change it. Okay, so thanks everybody for tuning in, and so thank you very much, Suzanne. It's been a blast.
Yeah, and thanks everyone for listeing.
Yeah.
Take care, and
Thanks.
good luck with. And don't work from fear. That's the other thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And go back to sleep now, okay?
Yeah, I will go back to sleep. Yeah.
Okay.
Take care.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.